For some, today's dish is a lot harder to pronounce than it actually is to make. So what do you call it? Gnocchi, Gnocchi? I'll tell you, the proper pronunciation is actually gnocchi, plain and simple. 4 easy ingredients are what make up today's dish. So before we get into today's dish, please take a few seconds just to hit the like, share, and of course, the ever so important subscribe button. And don't forget that little notification bell every time we produce and make a video right here on Cooking from Scratch. All right, that notification will be sent directly to you, and you'll know exactly when those videos will be up on YouTube for you to view. Having said all that, it takes so much time to produce all of this content for each of you. And guys, it's free. It's absolutely free. So please, we ask you kindly just to hit the like, share, and of course, the subscribe button. It means the world to us. All right, so let's get into making those wonderful gnocchi. So let's get right into the making of our gnocchi. Again, as stated at the beginning of this video, it is a lot harder to pronounce than it actually is to make these wonderful and pillow soft gnocchi. So we are making a potato gnocchi today. So obviously the first of those 4 ingredients I've got right here in front of me, and I've got approximately about 600 grams of potatoes. Now what I've done here is I've taken just 4 russet potatoes, and I've baked these off in the oven. All right, so while I'm just peeling this potato here really quickly, it's a little bit hot. It's still warm to the touch, but the reason for this is because it's important that we do or work with the potato shortly after it comes out of the oven. You don't want them to cool down before you actually press them. And I'll show you guys in just a few moments how we do that. And then of course to that, we're gonna be adding some flour, all right, which is gonna give our gnocchi a little bit of that stability and structure. Okay, so I'm just peeling my potato here, everyone. All right, and making sure that I've got all of my potato in my bowl here. All right, very hot still to the touch. As you can see, it's still very steamy. I forgot to make note before, okay, when you are taking, or when you're handling the hot potato out of the oven, again, you want to be peeling them right away or shortly after removing them from the oven when the potato is still relatively warm to hot, okay, but not to the point where obviously you're scalding your hand. If it becomes unbearable for you to hold the potato while you're peeling it, use an oven mitt, all right? Again, just to protect your hand so that you don't seriously burn and injure yourself, all right? Okay, so we've got our potatoes here, okay? Now, I do a 2-to-1 ratio. I do 2 parts potato, 1 part flour. So I've got roughly about 600 grams of potato here. So to that, I'm gonna add half of that, so 300 grams of flour. All right, more or less. And the why I say this is because, all right, when we're working with something like a potato, if you find that it is too sticky, even after adding all of your flour, you can always balance it with a little additional flour. All right, so come on back. We're gonna put these beautiful gnocchi together. All right, so we take our potatoes, guys. Okay, so our potatoes are still nice and warm right from the oven there, but they have slightly cooled down, but still to the point where when you do put them in something like a potato masher that I have right here in my hand, you want to make sure that when you do squeeze it through, they're still warm enough that these will actually beautifully, look at that. Okay, and that's exactly what you want to see. Okay, and look, you can still see the steam coming off of the potato there, and that's perfect. And that's exactly, again, like I said, what we're looking for. So just go along here and just press your potatoes through in preparation for adding in your other ingredients. Now, before you start to add any additional ingredients in here, you just want to make sure, okay, now these again have now at this point here cooled down even more from when they came out of the oven, of course. So we now can safely begin to incorporate all of our other ingredients, all right? So what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to alternate a little bit of flour, egg, I will add in my salt here. So I'm going to put in about 2 egg yolks here. I'm using 4 egg yolks, by the way. Okay. You'll find that the more times you make these, okay, you'll actually start to experiment with weights and so on and so forth of all of these ingredients. Having said that, you also will determine how you like your gnocchi. Some people like their gnocchi extremely soft, so maybe you want to cut back a little bit on the flour, okay? If you like your gnocchi with a little bit of bite, a little bit of a sort of a, more of a chew, then additional flour, of course, is always something that is obviously not frowned upon in this particular dish, okay? Again, everyone has their kind of their own preference, but I like it this way here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my flour. I'm going to add in about half my flour. All right, and then what I do is I'm just going to get my hands dirty here and start to bring everything together. Now, like I said, the actual potato here, it's going to absorb a lot of this flour, so it may look crumbly at first, but not to panic. This will actually come together. And 4 simple ingredients, you know. I mean, it's not that difficult. You can make something like this ahead of time, okay? And then obviously the gnocchi freeze very well. I'm mixing everything right now in a bowl, in a separate bowl here. You can do this right on your work counter. The reason why I do it in here first is so that I kind of combine everything together, and then I'm going to be transferring this to my work surface. Okay, and I can already start to feel, all right, as I kind of move this dough around, it's already starting to form itself beautifully. Okay, a little bit still sticky there to the touch. So I want to make sure that I am incorporating at least all of my flour here. Like I said, I use a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 parts potato, 1 part flour. And you just kind of work this into the dough, making sure that all of that flour is absorbed. All right, so what I've done here is I just transferred my gnocchi dough over to my work surface. Again, I've removed it from my work bowl. Okay, and I'm just, again, incorporating all of the flour. I have some excess flour here just off to the side. Okay, making sure that if my dough feels a little bit sticky to the touch, which as you continue working it, it's going to feel a little bit like it's going to need sort of just that little bit of sort of flour, okay, just to prevent sticking to your work surface. But what we're looking for here, as you continue to knead it, all right, and just the kneading process here, you can see, all right, that I'm just taking my hand, okay, and I'm pushing forward, pulling back. My left hand here is my guiding hand. Of course, if you are left-handed, then your right hand is your guiding hand, so on and so forth. Okay, but just continue until you feel that the outer crust of your dough is nice and smooth. All right, come on back. We're going to make some gnocchi. All right, we're back, and now it's time to make some gnocchi. So we have our dough here all ready to go. Unlike a yeast dough, this does not need to rise. Why? It's got no yeast. So we can start working with this dough right away. That's the beauty of this gnocchi recipe. I mean, guys, it's so quick, it's so easy, it's so delicious. All right, so what I have here is I've just got a baking pan lined with some parchment paper. And this is where I'm going to be placing my uncooked gnocchi on. In preparation to go into the freezer. They need to freeze, guys, and harden before you pack them away for the day when you will be preparing them. They have to be frozen, all right? You can, if you were making these the same day, I believe so, that you can get away with getting them directly into your boiling water. But listen, I mean, every time I've made gnocchi, I've always taken the time to make ahead of time and then, of course, freeze and then finalize it when we are ready for plating and service and so on and so forth. So, little note, make sure that you do take the time, guys, to allow them just to harden slightly a little bit. They will hold their shape a lot better and they'll cook off nicely. without sticking to each other if you give them that time. All right, so let's get into the making of our gnocchi. So I have here just a bench scraper or a dough cutter, whichever you want to call it. I'm going to call it a dough cutter for today. And you'll see just by cutting into our dough here, all right, nice sort of smooth consistency to our dough. There's no lumpiness from potato that may have not been mashed properly, and so on and so forth. So you want to make sure that it's nice and even and smooth as far as the actual mixing process is concerned. So I'm going to take just a little bit of excess flour here. And when I say excess, I'm just saying additional flour. Okay, guys? Not excess in the sense that it's, it's added to the recipe, because the gnocchi dough is already made, but I'm just making sure that, of course, our tabletop is coated with flour so that we're not sticking to the surface here. All right? Okay, so I'm going to roll these gnocchi out. And I'm looking for, obviously, an even sort of roll here, if you will. Okay, you don't want to go too small, but you don't want like a gnoc. Okay, you want gnocchi, so you want them bite size at best. Okay, let me remove some of this additional flour. Sometimes it's a little harder to roll out if your work counter is overly floured or too floured, if that's a word. Too floured, right? Over floured, I guess. All right. Okay, so that looks good to me. So what we're going to do here, which reminds me, it brings me to, of course, this is the, if I'm going back here, which I am going back, and I know my mom, if she's watching, Ma, all right, in our dialect in Italy, this is called ucestino. Some call it upanaro, right? But this here, guys, is what we, I guess back in the day, what we used to use to make our gnocchi. Nowadays, we use just a fork, but I'll show you guys once I cut these gnocchi, all right, exactly what I'm talking about here. So you're going to make pillowy soft gnocchi here. And again, guys, all right, consistency is key. You want to keep, all right, these beautiful little pillows here even in size. And the reason for this is because when we go to cook these off, we want to make sure, okay, that that one is not cooking faster than the other and vice versa. You want to make sure that they are all even in size. So you have here some beautiful, all right, little gnocchi like this. Now you can keep this, you can keep it like this. Again, there's various ways that you can serve this up. You don't necessarily need something like this. You don't necessarily need to run them off of a fork. I like to do it because it creates almost like that, like when you're dealing with like a penne rigate. All right, those little lines that you create in the gnocchi are what trap the sauce in. All right, but you can leave them very much so like this. Okay, I've also seen a lot of chefs. They just kind of do a little dimple in the center, and that also kind of traps in the sauce, okay? And for my mother here, okay, Ma, if you're watching, which I know you are, all right? So you also take something like this, guys, okay, and you just kind of press along like so, all right? Let me just get these here on the camera so that our viewers can see exactly what we're doing here. Okay, that's kind of my favorite right there, guys. You see the nice little lines that something like this forms. Let me show you guys one more time. Okay, you just kind of take your, all right, your cestino here, or your panaro. I don't know what this is called in English. Guys, if you know what this is called in English, put it in the comment section below. Let me know. I don't really know what this is called in English, okay? Or, okay, guys, just take your fork. And again, same deal. What you want to do is you just kind of want to just press into the sort of the tines here, or the twines of the fork, as they call the twines of the fork. Okay, and I turn my fork always kind of backwards here, making sure that, again, you want to just press into your gnocchi like so. All right, and just creating those little grooves. And then, guys, you just continue along, okay, until all of your gnocchi are complete. Okay, so let me just continue on with this, all right, and I'll be right back to show you the final product. Stick around. So as you can see here, we're just at the end of our gnocchi making here. I've just got my last bit of dough that I'm working with. And I got to tell you, this product is flawless. And that's what I love about it. And I can't stress enough, guys, I know that I've been saying it all video long, but 4 ingredients, that's it, right? No more store-bought gnocchi. Make fresh, make it right in your own home, guys, and I'm telling you, you're not going to regret it. Okay, so there are my gnocchi, guys. I roughly have here enough gnocchi to feed about 4 people. And let me get this up in the camera here so everybody can see. All right, and as you can see, they are all pretty much the same size. And I say this because, guys, again, it is important to make sure that they all are relatively the same size. This is important when it comes to cooking and finishing off your gnocchi in your boiling pot of water. In case I forgot to mention it, guys, really quickly, when you get your gnocchi to this stage here, make sure, okay, I just give them a little shake so to make sure that they are evenly coated with the flour and then they're not sticking to the bottom of the pan here or the parchment paper. And then I place these directly into my freezer, 3 to 4 hours in your freezer, or until, all right, you pick up one of your gnocchi, all right, and they are firm to the touch. At that point there, I take a Ziploc bag, a nice large Ziploc bag, and I place my uncooked gnocchi in my Ziploc bag and then back in my freezer. Listen, I just want to say thank you, as always, to each of you for tuning in and seeing again what lovely creations we're making here at Cooking from Scratch. Guys, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It means the world to us, to Frankie and I, and to everyone at Cooking from Scratch, if you just hit that subscribe button and join us every single week as we prepare delicious dishes for each of you. Till the next time, guys, all right, be safe, be well, and as always, all right, guys, feed your passion and keep on cooking. We'll see you on the next one.